Hey, come on into my house imports. I've got two dragons to show you today. Now, I've decided I'm going to list one of these. If you haven't been there yet, please go over to my eBay store. I'm starving to death. I can hardly feed me dragons, you know. And I sell things that I find, all of them have some kind of magical thread. That's the only reason for bothering to look for them and sell them. I'm sure you'll like it. Go check out the store. So these are bigger masks than usual from Nepal. These are too big to fit in your suitcase and bring home, you know. So you're not going to see them very often, that means. And they're a very important figure that has a complex history. It's layered with the stories of several gods and godlike beings, I think. So it's the dragon, but it's a distinctly Himalayan dragon. It's a different, well, certainly different face than a Chinese dragon. We have a hybrid going on with these ears and snout of a boar or something like that, and horns of a Tibetan goat, and the teeth of, I think it's a bear. Certainly a creature you don't want to meet in a dark alley one night, you know. And so this creature is the embodiment of thunder. And he lives in the clouds. Therefore his nickname is the Cloud Dragon. And that's reinforced by these designs that are the same designs that are used in Tibetan painting, and Tankas, for example, as cloud designs. And these two creatures are the same. This painted one is perhaps arguably a little better carving. The piece of wood's a little bit bigger on the painted one. And so it gives a little more detail. You see the snout has some more detail. And the mouth is bigger and the lips are bigger, but still they're both, you know, much better than average market grade. They're hard to find this big. For one thing, Nepal has very few trees. Gosh, you could bet that the wood carvers would remember, once it gets this big, well, where'd that tree come from? Oh, that was from such and such a village. That's the one the bus hit, and then they were allowed to bid on it. Or that's the one the lightning hit, or their road went through that way, whatever, you know. So, now the downside of this Tibetan wood is it cracks easily. So, you just have to accept that. There's going to be cracks in these pieces, but they're not going to fall apart. It'll be, I think always I'll see, oh yeah, let's say, oh, that tooth had been cracked off and now it's glued back on, okay, no problem. Or even it'll happen right there in the shop and you just tell them, cover it up again. You don't care about that. This one does have a more noticeable crack here in the top. And so I've had this mask about 5 years, and so that happened in the first year or so that I had it. I don't think it's going to get any worse. If you're worried about it, you patch it. Use a thin piece of something flexible, glue and 10 screws, let's say a 1 inch by 6 inch piece in there. I'll do that for you if you want, but I don't think you need to. I've got the weight distributed nicely for hanging. I've got 2 eye hooks on each side, total 4. Drilled holes first and put in screw eyes, so the weight's distributed nicely, because that's actually quite a heavy piece of wood. That's a significant piece of wood, that carving. And this one is lighter and easier to handle, and the effect comes from giving it a light wash of color and then wiping it off right away. So it just leaves a suggestion of color. It's a very nice effect, I think. And you can enhance that by taking a coin, like take a nickel or something and rub the whole thing. It'll take you a few hours and it ends up looking like burnished copper. And same power, same energy, each of these. I suppose this colored one is more traditional, certainly white is the background color. it's easier to demonstrate on the colored one because you can see the distinctive differences. So there we looked at the features, but then up here is the extra eye, which associates it with divinity, and to me at least suggests the trident of Shiva or the crescent moon. And then the shape of the eye itself is now absorbed into Tibetan Buddhism. That's the shape called the eye of the wrathful deity, where it goes, comes down there to that point. You see in the middle? You can see it on this side too, I think. See that shape? And then with that shape eyelid and the full round showing, that's wrathful deity. So this starts out as a god of the old religion. It's the god of thunder. It's the embodiment of thunder. It lives in the clouds. It became a shamanic ally because this is the vehicle of the shaman. So that means it has a benefit for humankind because the shaman could ride on the dragon to the other world to find the reason for your illness, let's say. And then finally when it became absorbed into Tibetan Buddhism, which was the way of all the old gods, became a wrathful deity. Wrathful meaning it has the power to, you know, fiercely defend the Dharma and the Sangha, let's say. And there I lost my train of thought nicely. So let's skip to the, the crows wanted me to tell you about so this one has the nostrils carved through. How much is carved through is always an important part of carving. It also, you can only do that with a good piece of wood. That's really lovely. This one has the eyes carved through, which is perhaps more logical, more balanced visually. And again, this wonderful mouth. So, this one is arguably, you know, it probably cost me a bit more, but I'd probably sell them, I'd probably offer them at the same price because, all right, this one has a more scary looking crack. But still, you won't see another pair of dragons in your own kitchen table soon.